I'm sitting in one of the oldest buildings in western New York, the Eagle House Restaurant in Williamsville. At one time, a stagecoach stop for weary travelers. While travelers dined upstairs, below a chapter in history was written. The Eagle House Restaurant was a stop on the road to freedom. The Eagle House Restaurant was a part of the Underground Railroad. Owner Jack Haney told me for slaves to get into the underground tunnels, they traveled Ellicott Creek to a back entrance that secretly led inside.
The slaves were brought up, of course, from the south, and they entered the Eagle House through the creek in the back. And the tunnels extend out under the restaurant, under the parking lot in the rear, and under the street.
How many slaves do you feel were housed here at one point in time?
Probably no more than 2 families at a time, which might be 8 or 10 people. Contrary to public belief, hundreds of slaves did not come up from the south at once. It was too difficult to hide them. And slaves, as you know, were real property. And being real property, there were a lot of Southern sympathizers in Williamsville that were trying to catch them and send them back down south and get the reward money.
The fugitive slave law made all slaves fair game. Those that made it to Buffalo waited quietly, listening to footsteps overhead. More than 50,000 slaves escaped the South during the 1800s. Harriet Moses Tubman played a major role as conductor. The Underground Railroad was a secret way to escape. Mind you, it was neither a railroad or underground. The Michigan Avenue Baptist Church was also sanctuary. Always looking behind them, slaves accepted the help of black agents along the route. The Quakers, who believed slavery was evil, were there when needed. At the end of the slave's journey, freedom was across the waters in Canada. "60 years a printer, Conrad Talbert is the last descendant of the Talbert family. He and relatives the Hills have been here for 180 years. At the beginning of the century, his aunt, Mary Burnett Talbert, was famous in political and cultural circles worldwide. The former Talbert Mall housing complex was named in her honor.
She was for the race. She died for the race because she went to Washington on a lecture, and she caught cold, and that pneumonia killed her.
Her legend and spirit lives on. Industry. Men working the line in Buffalo. During the late 1800s, Buffalo's industrial economy skyrocketed, largely because of Buffalo's black labor force. Fathers and sons came from Alabama, Tennessee, seeking opportunity in what they called Buffalo, the city of gold.
Most of the blacks that came to Buffalo came after 1915, and many of them came to Buffalo to work in the steel industry, the railroads, and other industries, chemical industries in and around this area. And that is really the stimulus, the First World War era and the economic expansion that was taking place in the community at that time. That is really the magnet that draws tens of thousands of blacks to Buffalo in the early 20th century.
In sharp contrast, today the story has changed. A suffering economy and low car sales is affecting Buffalo. As a result, many of those in the industrial line yesterday are in the unemployment line today. Last December, the overall unemployment rate was 8.8%, the highest of that year, mainly due to industrial layoffs.
Major problem for blacks is really the unemployment conditions in which we are facing right now.
Urban League Director Leroy Coles Jr. says many factors contribute to the unemployment picture. He blames discrimination and a sagging economy as 2 reasons.
Right now it's about 7 or 8 in this community. So if you feel if it's 7 or 8 for whites, it's going to be that twice for blacks. Our youth is up 3 times, 3.5 times. So we're going to face that problem. And when we get down to about 4 or 5, then you see some of the doors being opened up, and blacks and other minorities of color, and Asian and women will be able to find a little bit more of job opportunities.
There's hope for the future, says local economist George Semtak. The light at the end of the tunnel, more skilled jobs as middle-aged laborers near retirement. That will create a demand for more skilled laborers in the future, and it's up to us to be ready for it. The sound comes from the heart. Music by Jesse Nash and family, rich in cultural heritage and talent. Jesse Nash is a college professor and skilled musician. His father, the late great Reverend Jesse Nash, was pastor of the Michigan Avenue Baptist Church in 1892.
But what he did pass on was taking a concern for who you are and knowing from whence you've come and never forgetting it and using it as the basis upon which you live and move and have your being.
You try to instill that in your own family today.
In the same way that he did. He never talked about it so much as he lived it.
This belief has been passed on through Jesse to his sons. They're perceptive, talented individuals, a family who can live, love, and laugh. It's kind of nice to get back and play music with someone that you love. And not many people get a chance to do that.
No, and it's good because my brother plays piano, so then we get to practice more than most people since we're in the same house.
And the family, being close is everything too. It means everything.
What have you learned? What is one thing that you can say that you've learned from your family?
How to respect people
How about
care for them.
16-year-old George Raymond Nash answered without hesitation, respect and caring for people. It's people like this who make Buffalo's black heritage rich.